Welcome to Culture by the Uncultured, where we talk about pretty much whatever we feel like. We are your hosts, Sam, Sunny, and Taylor B. We'll just go over a little bit about ourselves. Obviously, you guys know me. Just call me Taylor B. It's a nickname I picked up in the Army. Also, I like the name Taylor. I prefer people call me that anyway. A little bit about myself. Played sports, mostly football. I suck at basketball. Yes, I know I'm pretty tall I'm a pretty tall person, but I suck and I can't shoot a ball or dribble worth a damn. So don't ask me to play a pickup game. Super into video games, super into anime, also like movies, watch sports from time to time, football, basketball, pretty much whatever I can get my eyes on. And I also have a pretty steep collection of Funko Pops. So if you got anything that's rare or collectible, send it my way. All right, Sam, the floor is yours.
All right, I'm Sam. Let's see. I'm in the Army, but I really don't connect myself to anything like that outside of work. I'm super big into sports, anime, and video games. And yes, I do play football pretty decently. I can talk football stats all day long. As a matter of fact, it's one of my driving points in conversation. Anime, starting to get back into it. Not so much big. Usually watch shonen. And that's about it. I play video game shooters. So if you want to catch me on PlayStation, let me know. If you're on PC, I'll move over to PC. And I'm pretty sure I'll whoop your ass in a couple of games. But that's enough about me. Sunny?
I'm Sunny. I study screenwriting. I'm a big fan of film. I like all kinds of film, usually, so long as it's a decent movie. Other than that, not much else to say.
So this is the first episode of Culture by the Uncultured. We're excited to kind of bring you guys our thoughts and opinions on various subjects and pretty much pop culture, media, sports. Most likely that'll mainly be Sam's forte. Pretty much just kind of bring you guys some form of entertainment. We also may start other segments or channels dedicated to specific things, like specifically movies or books or whatever we may come across. This is just the beginning for us, and we hope to expand this to a much greater degree. All right, so for today, we wanted to kind of start with something that's pretty big in the world. It pretty much affects everything and kind of shapes a lot of things that we're exposed to via social media specifically. That being said, main topic is going to be clout chasing. I'm sure most of you have heard of that. If not, you could probably look it up on Google and figure out what it is, or you could probably look it up on YouTube and see plenty of forms of it every day. Something new every day. Somebody's doing something wild, crazy, outrageous, and just taking that whole clout chasing thing to like a new extreme. Obviously, there's various levels to it, and there's a couple examples that I wanted to, to bring up to Sam and Sunny and just kind of go over them and see what their thoughts are on the way essentially life is kind of going. And I guess it's kind of a negative, but I don't want to just dwell on that and say it's a negative thing. Obviously, there's a lot wrong with it, from little examples to like just hilarious, saying something about some Muslim men kind of getting the wrong idea and just kind of, essentially saying something dumb and racist. And it might not have purposely been for clout chasing, but she wanted to put something out there that was funny. She wanted to put out content. She wanted her fans and family and friends or whoever and have them, laugh at something, build more of a following, get a couple laughs, ha ha ha, he he he. And obviously it completely backfired, and fucking she's in a lot of, I don't want to say turmoil, but she's pretty beat up about it. She gave an apology. Looked pretty heartfelt, but we'll see how that goes from there. It doesn't really take a lot, I feel like, for people to get canceled nowadays. But let's just start there from that little example. What do you guys think about that as far as if you guys even think it's clout chasing or not? And then just what are your thoughts on that in general?
I guess for me, I don't think it's clout chasing, just because didn't she actually get, I think they're not even Muslims, kicked off a flight?
Just Sikhs. There were Sikhs.
There were Sikhs.
Yeah.
But she called them Muslims, I think.
Actually got them kicked off a flight, so I don't feel like that's clout chasing. I feel like that's her being racist.
Well, she didn't actually get them kicked off. That's what the first, I think it was on Twitter, some guy posted that video, and then a couple comments down, he said that that's not what happened. She just got it wrong, I guess, because they're wearing turbans. And that's what I guess is kind of just associated with that whole thing, especially after September 11th. There's like a huge stigma about.
Well, getting it wrong or not, it's kind of xenophobic in my eyes, to mistake people for a different type of people.
Oh,
based on how you're
absolutely
dressed.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
that's
Well, and to me,
insane. You know,
regardless who they were, whether they're Muslim or not, even if they were Muslim, you don't have a right to throw a fit about them being on a plane. You know how many Muslims have taken flights since 2001? Probably billions, millions, you know?
Yeah.
So, nah, she's a bitch. She's a racist bitch. That's what she is.
I don't want to say I resonate with that entirely. I'm sure that to some degree, yes. I do disagree with her. I definitely disagree with her thoughts. I don't know how much of a said bitch or not she is, but
I think everyone that's racist is a bitch.
well, was she trying to be funny with it?
I think that's what the purpose of it was. That's why I considered it cloud chasing, because I mean she's just doing this for her page. Like that's the only reason I could think of her doing something like that. Not because necessarily she is just a cold-hearted racist that like, oh, I freaking hate Sikhs or Muslims or whoever, but that like maybe in this form of clout chasing, like, she's trying to get a laugh. I think it was shared to her story originally. She's trying to get a laugh. She's trying to, get people to respond, maybe, ha ha ha, oh, ha, that's so funny, da da da. But like she's garnering in her lane, whatever that lane, comedy, I guess for the most part, she's trying to get some laughs and entertainment value there. That's where I see it as cloud chasing. She's trying to basically just doing stuff for the sake of doing it, for the sake of let this go viral, let this go let this be entertaining, let more people see this. I want to share this, with everybody, because once it gets out there, it's out there, It's not like she like did that and sent it to somebody, and then that person leaked it out, which is like, to me, that might have even been worse.
Yeah.
That's why I don't want to just necessarily say she's just a full-on racist, even though what she did is definitely racist. At a minimum, what she did was racist, but I can't necessarily say that because like she may have just thought that she was being funny, but
well, I think it's the problem with it's like the Vine era. Remember Vine when everybody would do something on camera just to do it?
Oh my God, yeah.
Just being funny. That's how people start getting their fan base built up. It's the same thing with Facebook comedians. I have no problem with Facebook comedians. I watch them all the time. Long Beach Griffey stays on my Facebook or stays on YouTube, but it's funny for the sake of being funny. I think once you go after like real life people, it's a difference, especially when you go for a collective group of people. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm doing this and this is my skit, it's different from like real life situation. Oh shit, they're wearing turbans. They must be Muslims. Let me do something funny real quick. And you end up getting these dudes kicked off the plane or trying to get the guys kicked off the plane.
Yeah.
There's a sense of being a comedian and it being funny.
Oh crap, it seems like Sam just died right there. I'm pretty sure what he was trying to say, though, just to kind of wrap that up, I agree. There's for the sake of just being funny, and it being harmless for the most part, versus like doing something in real life that could be very harmful or detrimental to a group of people or people in general, really. I mean, that's and it's hard to really make that distinction because like even like Sam brought up Long Beach Griffey. He does some pretty risque comedy, in my opinion, as well. I mean, I've never seen something where I was like, oh, that wasn't funny, but like
in general, racism, like especially racist jokes, I feel like are less funny when they're towards already like discriminated people.
Yeah. Well, like, okay, so for example, right? Long Beach Griffey did a skit, and I don't know if it's still there. It might be gone. He gets a lot of his stuff taken down because somebody's offended by it, so then they report it to Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and then he loses a bunch of his videos. But he had this video specifically where he was talking about getting head from a mentally disabled person.
Oh yeah.
And I was like I laughed, and because like sometimes dark humor is funny or whatever, but it was pretty intense. I was just like I there was a moment in time where I was laughing at that and I was like, man, this is super fucked up. Like who even has this thought in their mind to entertain something like this? Like, oh, I'm gonna make this video where this guy fucking tells his friend like, oh, who gives the best head, mentally disabled people. Like that's so weird and so far out there. And it's like, in a sense, what he is saying is not doing anything harmful to anybody. He's not saying that they're dumb or anything like that. He's in a very weird and pretty sick and twisted way. He's paying them some sort of a compliment, right?
No. Just stop.
Yeah, I think that one's gone a little too far.
Yeah. Sexually objectifying something is not respectful.
I'm not saying it is respectful. What I'm trying to say is that in if we're paying out compliments and that is a compliment to somebody to give,
It is not a compliment.
some people would disagree. Not necessarily for
It's
that
not a
specific
compliment.
case. For that specific case, no, I'm not saying that it is a compliment. But I'm saying some people would disagree that in general, that attribute would be a compliment. But
Oh
but
my God.
for the sake of that video, yes, it was super wrong. It was super wild. It was super far out there. He's had other stuff. I mean, I don't know if have you seen the Long Beach Griffey video set, Sonny?
I've seen some of them. I don't know.
Have you seen?
I definitely didn't see that one.
Have you seen the one where like an angel walks in on God, like smashing some chick?
No.
Oh God.
That's another one that's super far out there. He's like, it's like an angel trying to tell God, like, hey, God, like the black people have been enslaved for 300 years. Like, are you going to do something? And he's like, then he like goes on, is like, explains like, oh, like if black people aren't enslaved and this one happened, we'll never get this, that, and the third, whatever. Bringing up in a, of course, and there's hella negatives and this is hard to say. There's hella negatives and also some positives that did come out of that whole situation. Mainly the kind of the biggest positive being able to withstand so much as a black person. I think that's a very valuable skill. I mean, and just
being able to withstand like what? Just
being able to withstand life, anything that life can throw at you. I mean, I feel like black people, even in their worst of times, like freaking. If I put communities, and this is me personally, and some people are gonna fucking think that I'm a huge racist or maybe that I'm out of my freaking mind, but. If you put like the lowest level in society for each, let's say all races or whatever, right? Black people at the end of the day, no matter what, they're gonna be having a good time. They're gonna be having a good time. They're not gonna just be like, woe is me, just they can't do nothing. You know what I mean? The black people are gonna make it happen. They're gonna fight through that struggle. They're not just gonna sit there and take it. You get what I'm saying?
Okay, Kanye. Okay.
Whoa.
Whoa.
No.
She said Kanye.
I'm just a little hurt by that. I'm hurt by that.
I'm a little hurt by that.
Slavery was a choice, I guess. It was a good thing. Okay.
No. That's not me. That is not me. No, I did not. That is
might as well be. Jesus Christ.
No, ma'am. I am not.
I completely disagree that there's any benefit that slavery brought. Because to be honest, it just put back everything. Like it held back society, any kind of improvement or evolution or revolution, I guess, in society.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
So there's no good in that.
In totality, yes, I 100% agree with what you're saying. But the only thing, like, for example, if we didn't have slavery, we wouldn't have barbecue. Not saying that that's like
true.
Not saying that's worth, like being in our country or society as a whole being possibly hundreds or thousands of years even behind where it's supposed to be. But there are things that did come out of slavery that it's like, okay, cool, like we got this out of this, we got that out of it, cool, you know what I mean?
I really don't.
Okay, for example, super negative, but in a fucked up way, still positive. The best of the best were pretty much made it together, right? Because slave masters wanted the best.
Dear God.
Yeah, it's like my theory on why black athletes are the way they are now. Yeah.
Yes.
It started as a racist joke, but the more you think about it, it's like
there's some truth in that. There's gotta be. I'm not saying I'd much rather have just been like fine and a normal member of society. Absolutely. But what I'm saying is that overall, yes, it is a negative thing, but it's kind of like just looking on I don't even want to say looking on the bright side.
I guess I'm just how did we get to slavery being a positive thing? I don't understand how this came. I was not prepared for this conversation. I would have done my research and had a bullet list of why it was bad, and there's literally no good thing.
It's all bad. It's all bad.
It's because Taylor talks into circles. He talks until he digs himself a little ditch. I'm just going to bury myself here.
It's super bad, and we've gotten super far out of topic. Let's get back on track. And let's just move on to the next person.
Yeah, save that for a different episode where that's what we're talking about.
We went from cloud chasing to slavery. Anyway,
how did we get there?
I know how we got there. It got there because I brought up Long Beach Griffey after Just Hilarious. I talked about the slavery thing with
oh my God,
with the God smashing some chick video. I didn't even get to the end of that video. But anyways, let's forget all that, right? Let's go on to the next part of that discussion as far as cloud chasing. we'll go first with actually Takashi 69 and kind of like the young generation of rappers that are going on right now. We kind of talked about, in our little pre-production group that well, I said that I feel like Takashi 69 was a cloud chaser, and then I think Sam said that he wasn't necessarily cloud chasing, he was trolling. To me, it's very interchangeable and in a sense, except for the fact that for trolling, you're mostly like messing with somebody on purpose. That's the whole point of a troll. Cloud chasing, you're not necessarily messing with somebody, but you're doing something to just gain attention. And I feel like trolling is the same way. You're messing with somebody, but you're trying to get attention though for messing with them. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Okay, so
like just pranking people just to
yeah,
get attention.
So in this instance, this is like an example of clout chasing that's dangerous to your own life, I guess you could say. In the first sense, what I feel like was an example, obviously, which is hilarious. It's more detrimental to like a group of people and you kind of like a way of thinking. It's really harmful in that sense, basically towards society and their way of thinking. And I'm glad that so many people were able to step up and say, oh, that's messed up, that's foul, you shouldn't be saying stuff like that. So that, I mean, in a sense, that's that's a good sign as a people that we're kind of stepping in and saying, oh, that's messed up, that's racist, you can't be saying stuff like that. That's good. There's a a bright sky over that after that dark cloud. But for the whole Takashi situation, and rappers pretty much just like him, a lot of these guys, they go on Instagram or whatever social media they have, and they freaking talk all kinds of big tough guy talk, that they have all these goons and that they're, they'll beat whoever up and, pretty much just call people out by name. I mean, and Takashi kind of went a step further and it was like talking about screwing people's baby mama and, he'll be out on your block and this and that. And then to some very slight degree, this was true, just not at the appropriate times, I guess you could say. He probably got away with the most as far as clout chasing. I mean, he did it for a long time, even joined a gang as for clout chasing, and, he was able to get away with a lot until, eventually it caught up with him and it bit him in the ass. Now, I wonder if you guys think that, do you guys think that he deserves what he's getting right now?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I think he deserves everything he gets. For one, no one told his dumbass to, do any of that or to participate in planning any of it, because one of his charges is not him actually doing it, but conspiring to do it.
Yeah.
So I think people need to realize that, like, when you go and plan something, no matter if you carry it out or not, you conspired to do it. There's other ways to like make yourself known, Instagram, YouTube, SoundCloud, which, if I'm not mistaken, he was a SoundCloud rapper to begin off.
Mm-hmm.
He hung out with the wrong group of people who he knew were doing illegal things in the background. Whether he chose to take part in that, I'm not going to give him a hand clap for not choosing to, because those were who he was around. And now the charges are stacked up against him, and people could say, oh, 49 years or a snitch on a group of people who did this, who did that, blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's not so much a snitching on them. It's like snitching about who was doing this thing. So whatever he gets, he gets.
Yeah.
Plus, the other charge of what was it, with the 16-year-old girl or whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah.
People were like, oh, he didn't do it. It's like, well, he didn't do it, but it was his Snapchat or his Instagram, whatever the hell it was.
It'd be like the same thing. He was conspiring. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty much the same thing. And like, what are you supposed to do there? You're just going to defend him? Oh, man, he really never had sex with her. Okay, but he was on camera smacking her ass, degrading this little girl. The judge told him, hey, go get your GED. We'll let you off the hook. Failed to pass his GED 3 times. Didn't even show up for a couple of them. Like, is he a good guy? Nah, he's a fucking idiot. And he did some idiotic shit, and now he's getting what idiots get.
I agree.
Yeah, I almost feel like at the end of the day, like, clout chasing is, it's stupid for sure, but it's almost hard for me to say that when I think about it, because it's like, at the end of the day, like, the guy got screwed out of money too. Like, Shadi, I think, like, embezzled like $2 million from him or something like that, or stole like $2 million from him, a big number. And like, this was pretty much brought to light after he tried to like offer his like whole bank account to like the judge, and it was like 1.7 million, I think. And then like Shadi had way more money than that, which is just interesting when you think about like everything that he had to do as like a as an act, right? Like he's a rapper, you know, he has a name out there, he has songs out there, people are messing with his songs. He's not getting like top 10 in like Billboard, but he's hitting the billboards every time. You know, people are messing with his music, people are going to the shows, people are catching him when he jumps into the crowd. I thought that show was hilarious. But he's having a name and he's still having to do all these antics to try to keep up with his fame, I guess, or who he is, you know, whatever. I never really saw anything as far as like trying to promote him, you know what I mean? I never saw another famous person trying to promote him or his music or being like giving him props in that regard. It was always him doing something stupid or some kind of antic, and then, you know, him promoting himself, and then of course, you know, he does something crazy or stupid, then it's all over world star, and then, you know, we're getting all this news, like, you know, in rap culture about him or whatever, you know, and then it's like, oh, along with, you know, the gunshots or whatever happened, oh, he's dropping a new single next Thursday or something, you know. It's like, dude, like, what happened to the days where like you could, you know, make a commercial or, you know, even promote yourself via social media like a normal fucking human being, you know, like you don't have to do all this wild all these wild and crazy antics, you know, and ultimately at the end of the day, hurt yourself for it. It's like I feel like that's what just keeps happening. Is like people who are clout chasing keep shooting themselves in the foot over and over again, and we're just seeing more and more examples of it, and it's just getting worse and worse. And
It's talent.
I just feel like that's just how it is. To get any attention, you have to do something special.
I mean, if you look at it, it's like Lil Pump when he dissed J. Cole.
Crazy.
You know, you always, if you want to clout chase, you don't go after someone on your same level, or you don't do like same level shit. You know, you want to go after someone who's bigger than you, but will still, you know, respond. It's like they say, all publicity's good publicity. Well, even if you respond and destroy me, you just gave me the time of day. You used my name. Now people are going to Google me. If I had to go out there and do something stupid, like Florida man shit, you're going to Google me. Now you're going to want to see me do more stupid shit. And now I'm going to get paid, make a namesake off of doing dumb shit. That's all it is.
That's almost like, that reminds me of that. I think Sunny shared this. It's like type in Florida man followed by your birthday and see what comes up. And it's just like, people are doing a lot of dumb shit out in this world. A lot of dumb shit. And I don't see that trend ending anytime soon unless like Instagram shuts down like it did for that one day, or, you know, social media just comes to a halt entirely. And I've always kind of wondered what like the next evolution would be beyond this, because it's like, this is the most connected obviously we've ever been in like the world, you know, with the advancements we have, technology, apps, you know, software, hardware wise. It's the most connected people have ever been. I mean, there's still people in isolation out there in the world, somewhere out there in the world. But for the most part, you know, I can talk to somebody in Paris, or I can, you know, talk to somebody in Russia or Germany or whatever. You know, you guys are in Alabama, and I'm talking to you guys just fine right now. You know, so it's the world is a lot more connected, and we can see a lot more things. And because everybody has a freaking camera in their pocket now, we see a lot more stupid things, and which ultimately I feel like is just gonna keep pushing society into like a downward spiral. And I don't see like the next step after social media, after Facebook, after Instagram. Like I don't see personally, I don't see what's next, because I pretty much just see this going on until the end, really. Just stupid crap until
Well,
the end.
you know, how many more years till the world ends from climate change? Like what, 10, 12? So probably,
Something
yeah.
like that.
But in general, I mean, if you want people to stop, you have to stop giving them the attention for doing stupid shit. And that's the problem with our culture, is we give them the attention.
Yeah.
Because if you don't reward the bad behavior, it stops. But we reward it constantly, over and over, all the
Do you
time.
think this started because of Jackass?
I don't think so. I mean, Punk'd was before that.
Was Punk before Jackass? I feel like Jackass was like late 90s. But I could be wrong, though. Because I really feel like, I mean, Punk'd wasn't terrible. It was like pranks, and I feel like people have been pranking people forever. But that wasn't really like for clout or for attention. I feel like it was just like, oh, like Ashton Kutcher wanted to prank some celebrity people he knew or whatever, you know, or some big celebrities, like, oh, let's see what we can get away with, and, you know, how far we can take these pranks before, like, you know, something bad happens.
Oh, I guess you're right. Yeah, it came out a couple years before.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't think, I mean, there was American Home Videos, right?
Yeah.
That's been around a long time.
But
I mean, that had people doing stupid shit.
But I feel like, well, I could be wrong, because of course I have no idea what was happening back then necessarily. But for the most part, I always feel like America's Funniest Home Videos was more like accidents. Like people just happen to have camcorders and caught something on film or whatever, like, oh my gosh, it's hilarious, or
No,
kids are
I
doing something
guarantee it.
silly.
Once it got popular, people were like, "Let's do something on America Home Video.
Oh yeah, they win money.
Let's win the
probably.
$10,000."
Probably, but I mean, but it was also a lot harder back then because not everybody just had a cell phone with a camera and could just record whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
At the click of a button. Back then, it was like
it was harder, but now it's easier, and so that's why there's more people doing stupid shit for attention.
It's easier, and I just feel like I just made a connection personally with the whole Jackass thing because those guys were doing specifically dumbass shit, hurting themselves, hurting each other for money.
Yeah, I just wonder like what kind of like other celebrity scandals were before that probably were out there just for attention. I was too young, obviously, to think about them or remember them, so I couldn't say. But I imagine there must have been.
I know with Jackass came what was that? Viva La Bam. That was really bad. He was really bad. And that influenced a shit ton of kids, just like Jackass did. That was probably everybody who's doing stuff right now, like the dumbest things you can think of, probably watched Viva La Bam or they watched Jackass. And they were just like, oh, this is funny. And now, like, that they have the opportunity to do it, via the phone in their pocket, they probably hopped right on it as soon as they could. Like, oh, like we can do stunts and do stupid things and, and get on and, get put on or whatever, get money for these videos. However, I mean, even people like on Instagram, they're not necessarily rich per se, just because they have a couple hundreds of thousands of followers, but it usually comes from promotions from somebody. They get a product, maybe they try it, maybe they don't, who cares? And now because I poured hot sauce in my eyes and snorted jelly, this company wants to do business with me because X amount of people have watched my videos and they want to give me $10,000 to push this product or whatever that I don't even give a damn about. I just care about the money and that's it. That's just my thoughts on it, at least.
In general, I guess I still don't necessarily agree though that there's something wrong with it. It's wrong in how you execute it probably, but clout chasing in general though is not a bad thing. I mean, you kind of have in our industry, in the market, with how we treat people, you have to do that unless you know someone. If you don't know anyone, you have to do something to stand out.
That's true. That's definitely true. I can think of 1,000 ways people clout chase. I mean, hell, even the freaking presidential race is somewhat clout chasing in some way, shape, or form. I mean, you either are saying negative things about the last person or you're trying to like make yourself big ups to yourself by doing something where people are like, oh my gosh, he's so in touch with the people. He's so about the people, he or she or whatever, So, I get what you're saying. It's not always bad necessarily, but I feel like generally speaking, it's usually something negative. Just the last thing I guess I wanted to bring up as far as being harmful, to yourself with, Tekashi 6ix9ine going to possibly to prison, whatever. He might get off because he snitched, whatever. That's neither here nor there. And then just hilarious and being detrimental to like society or like people's way of thinking. The last one I want to talk about is what happened to Adam 22. He's with the whole No Jumper podcast. I guess if that's what you want to call it. 2 times, I guess within pretty much a week, people went to his studio and they put a gun to him. Or the first one, a guy actually came inside, put a gun to his face and said, "Are you ready to die?" And just kind of just kept saying that over and over again. And then Adam thought it was a joke. Definitely wasn't a joke. He ran up to him and they kind of put the beats on this kid or whatever, right? Some random guy or whatever. And they recorded that too, which is, I don't know if that's a good or bad thing to, record like, hey, like we just beat the hell out of him. Like, don't do no stupid shit. Like, like you're trying to be big and tough or whatever and kind of like put a point, but it's like, I guess you don't really, I don't know. I feel like there's just some things that you don't necessarily want to shine light on or whatever. Cause a lot of it at first people thought like, oh, like he's staging this because they thought he was clout chasing. And it's like, dang, like so much dumb stuff happens and we're used to seeing so much dumb stuff that but most people's first reaction to that was, oh, he's clout chasing or whatever. He's trying to get popularity or whatever, gain popularity because, by having this guy come into his studio and put a gun in his face or whatever. The gun was fake, but there's actual police report on it and everything. So it's looking like this is actually real. Then another guy comes and records himself going into the studio, holds a gun to one of the workers and tells him to give him Adam 22. Police caught that guy too. And it's just getting to a point where it's like, okay, imagine if this guy had died, they pulled out this gun and he died on air. I don't know if it's
they probably wouldn't think he was clout chasing.
Exactly. Right. Like something super negative like that would have to happen for them to not say he's clout chasing. But at the same time, that kid, the idiot that's coming in there with a fake gun or a real gun, whatever it was, at the end of the day, he's still clout chasing. Even, like he didn't just go into a random place and was like, oh, let me just pull out this gun and threaten this specific person. You know what I mean? He went there with an intent and a purpose. You know what I mean? He went there because he probably seen the studio, saw they film out on location. He probably maybe figured out what time they film or whatever. He probably walked by that building 1,000 times. I mean, I know like when X died, he had like a huge amount of people outside his studio. So it's like people know where this place is at. People probably know what time they record at, things like that. People probably see the activity that goes on in the building. So it's probably pretty common knowledge if you live in the area, when and where, all the filming and everything is going on. Had he died?
I guess, who is Adam? Like, what does Adam 22 do aside from podcasts? Like,
other than that, I've never heard of him. I first heard about him mainly because of the X thing. I saw the first time I was introduced to him, I watched the interview from X where he went on his show, and it was him and Ski Master Slum God, and they had an interview with him. But other than that, I don't know if he was from like a magazine or he came from like a music company or anything like that. All I know is that he does the No Jumper, and he gets all.
I just wonder, why would someone want to hurt him?
But that's the thing though, since he wasn't hurt, it's like these are just pranks or jokes or whatever. The last guy, I don't know, maybe if he would have saw Adam, who knows if he would have got killed or not, I don't have any confirmation if the second gun was fake or not. I just know another guy went in there and was pretty much trying to do the same thing. I mean, both of these guys are obviously clout chasing, but it's just like a detriment because it's like, we see these two lucky incidents where nobody gets hurt, right? Cool. Thankful for that. But what happens when the next guy finally comes and he decides to kill somebody? He has a real gun. It's actually loaded and he decides to shoot somebody. You know what I mean? Because that stuff is happening all over the world, but it's like to even a less degree. It's like these guys that are doing these massacres and stuff out there, they're not just doing this just to do it. They want to make a name for themselves. They're trying to make a statement or whatever, whatever it is, bullying, whatever messed up issues they have at home, they're trying to get attention. They're not just killing for the sake of killing. There's something wrong with them, and they want this attention, from this very negative attention for whatever reason it is, right? But how, like, when is enough enough? You get what I'm saying? Like, when do we say like this is too much? Stop doing this. You know what I mean? Like, when do like people who are out there doing these dumb things, doing whatever they can to put a name out there, kind of coming to the forefront and saying like, this needs to come to an end. Like, this, enough is enough. This needs to stop.
Again, like I said, it's only going to stop when we stop rewarding it with attention.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just talking about it in general, you're perpetuating it because now people are going to go look it up and give these people attention. So
that is always like the negative aspect when it comes to reporting any of that stuff. Massacres.
Yeah.
People doing dumb things in general. It's always bad because at the end of the day, like kind of like Sam said earlier, there's no such thing as bad publicity, because you're either way, you're getting your name put out there, and it's just going to get you more attention, fame, whatever you want, notoriety, whatever it is. And that's super sad to think about, but whatever. We'll get off of that. But just in general, from what we talked about, it seems like obviously, Sonny, you don't think that clout chasing is necessarily always a bad thing. I don't necessarily either, but I probably feel like more times than not that it is a bad or negative thing. Sam might also have his own opinions on that. I'm sure he does. Whether it's a bad, you might know. I mean, you guys are married after all. You guys have like that psychic wavelength, right, from your rings or something. Isn't that how that works?
What?
Oh, you're here. Okay, you're back. Okay, I thought you were gone still. So. Well, anyways, moving along, with this being the first episode, I don't want it to all be like kind of negative or dark or talking about, sad stuff or things that we may think are bad or whatever wrong with the world, because there is a lot of that. At this time, I guess I would like for us to sort of we all have our own interests. Obviously, we kind of introduced ourselves at the beginning of the podcast, and at the end of it, I kind of want to, just for this one at least, give something that you guys may be looking forward to movie-wise. I don't know if you guys have a newborn. She's adorable, and I know that can be very time-consuming, taking care of another person, another life, and, giving them plenty of love and affection and attention. But based off of maybe trailers you guys seen, even it's a show, I mean, there's a ton of stuff that I really want to see. But one thing in particular that I'm super dying to watch, and I want you guys to do the same if that works for you guys, right?
Okay.
All right. So I'll start, and then I'll just, whoever wants to take over from there, we'll take over from there. But for me, what I want to see the most coming up, it comes out in May. right after Avengers, unfortunately, and I think that's going to hurt it really bad. But Godzilla King of the Monsters, I really want to see Godzilla King of the Monsters. If I couldn't see any other movie this year besides Godzilla King of the Monsters, I would be okay with that. Mainly because I've been a fan of Godzilla for a really long time. My mom introduced me to Godzilla as a young boy, and I've always been a fan of giant monsters, I guess you can say, in general. That's I want to say it's been a passion of mine, but like whenever that happens in a movie, or it's like that's a thing in the movie, or something grows really big or something, I'm just like, oh, I get super excited about it. Pacific Rim, it wasn't the best movie in the world, but like as soon as I saw giant robots and giant monsters, I was like, I'm gonna go see that. What else could I throw? Old Godzilla flicks, Cloverfield. There's a ton of giant monster flicks, King Kong. The list goes on and on. There's plenty of giant creatures and monsters out there. So because I was introduced to it at a young age, I've watched a lot of Godzilla. I've done lots of research on Godzilla. He's probably one of my favorite giant monsters, favorite kaijus, if you will, ever. I know in the new film they're calling them Titans. That's neither here nor there, though. Whatever. I'm mainly just excited to see what happens. This is a remake, technically. There is an old Godzilla King of the Monsters film from the past, where Godzilla, Mothra, and Rodan teamed up and they stopped King Ghidorah, or Ghidra. They stopped him, and then that was into that. I took all three of them together. It doesn't really look like that's going to be the case in this movie. I'm seeing signs of cannon fodder and people just getting owned, areas being taken over, things like that. So it's just going to be exciting to see them all on screen in such a grand and beautiful scale. I mean, the last movie was beautiful. There just really wasn't enough Godzilla in general. But for this movie, it looks like it's going to be pretty jam-packed full of, plenty of giant monster kaiju-ness, and I'm super for it. I could give a damn if the rest of the superheroes that were destroyed inside Endgame were come back in Infinity War, or that were destroyed in Infinity War come back in Endgame. But if my boy Rodan dies, it's going to be a sad day. It's going to be a real sad day. All right. What about you, Sunny?
I'm really excited to see Us, but I know you've already seen it. So
Ooh.
I've read some spoilers, obviously, but still really excited to see it. I don't really want to talk about the spoilers because Sam doesn't want to hear it. I think we might go see it tonight, though.
I hear none of that shit. Just like me.
Oh, man.
I'm super excited for the Avengers. Why? Because I've only seen the first trailer and I haven't seen shit else. I I was at work and someone's like, hey, have you seen this trailer? I'm like, don't show me. I've missed all teasers, trailers, what do you need to know, spoilers. I haven't seen any fucking posters, none of that shit. And I swear to God, I will fight the first person who tries to show me.
Wow.
That's some dedication right there. That's some hardcore dedication.
I plan on going into this one as blind as I possibly could be, outside of already knowing the characters and how they are like in the comics and whatnot. Which it doesn't even matter because they don't follow the comics that closely. So I'm good.
Man, it's actually pretty interesting. I wish I wish I could show that kind of dedication when it comes to movies like this, but I don't know why. Like I'm super into like teasers and trailers. I remember like back in the day when my buddies used to tell me, man, is that all you do? You always watching YouTube videos with trailers and stuff? Is that what you do when you go home? And I'm like, nah, man, leave me alone. Let me live my life. Chill out, but that's really cool. I mean, I definitely would love to talk to you guys about Us if you guys go see it. Some of it was confusing, sure, and it's like, but I can immediately kind of like put myself back into like the beginning of the film, coming back to like the quote unquote plot twist. But overall, I thought it was a pretty good film. Obviously, Endgame is going to be pretty cool too. And I really just can't wait for you guys to see all that stuff. I mean, just so we can even just talk about it, you know what I mean? There's a lot of good movies coming out this year. I mean, hell, there's a lot of movies coming out, every year really. But alas, our time is probably coming to an end. And I cannot wait to do this again with you guys and to go over our further thoughts with everything else in the world that's going on right now. Obviously, this is once again just a pilot episode for us. So this is kind of us kind of getting our bearing and getting the ball rolling. So hopefully you guys like what you hear. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, bitches, gripes, complaints, we're pretty much available everywhere. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We even have our own website. You can Make sure to follow us on all our socials too, though. Definitely, we'll probably be posting on there mostly. I'll obviously be posting the links, obviously, to all the episodes that we come up with. And like I said, in the future, we'll probably plan on sharing more content and more videos for you guys. And when that happens, we will let you guys know and keep you guys up to date. So this is going to be Culture by the Uncultured signing off.